All right, so welcome everybody to yet another Become a Fearless live interview show. And today I am accompanied by Shane, smart bot marketeer, and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna learn some stuff from him. We're gonna laugh some as well. That's the goal. We've been talking a little bit before already, which is good because I thought he only had a little baby. Found out he's got 3 kids. So it's always good to do your homework a little bit better. But that said, man, let's start off because you can definitely give me an answer on this, right? What was the biggest adjustment being an entrepreneur and then, becoming a dad of an infant, a little baby?
Yeah, so it was definitely when I first started my venture, right? It was just my oldest, right? So it was my 16 and my 15-year-old, which was a lot easier. I would say definitely because they actually helped me with things, right? So
sweet.
I have one that's kind of like a little tech guru, and then one that's like an outside. So they're polar opposites. But then I have recently, we've had our newest addition to the family, and I will say it has been a logistical little change, if I could say it the light way, to get everything like done properly. His schedule is not lining up with mine whatsoever. So it has definitely been one of those logistical things that you had to really kind of work out. Again, when it rolls down to it, what I found that really, really has helped me with business is my automation. So having an automation background and then having a digital marketing background, it really kind of guided me to push that automation side to make sure that I had like proper things done so that when I was sleeping or when I was doing something with the family, things were still getting handled. Like for instance, we were out the other night, the family was out, and then my phone is going off, and I'm like, the first thing you think of, hey, you should check it and answer it. Well, I'm checking it, but all it's doing is letting me know that it handled everything properly, right? So, which was a great feeling because when you're sitting there and you're like, well, that's not only a relief to have that happen, but then so you can naturally enjoy the atmosphere with your family, but it is actually a better relief knowing that business is being handled properly. So and you don't have to sit here and worry about things. And I'm one of those people that like to really kind of dig in myself and make sure that things are done properly. I keep my hand in everything. So it's kind of, but automation again is just the same, right? So if you do it properly, it's done in your own words, it's done in your own feel, done in your own demeanor. So it can be properly guided to assist and help in your business wherever it needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. Automation. We'll dive into that in a little bit as well, a little bit more into detail of what kind of automation you have set up. It's always interesting to find out how other dadpreneurs set that up, right? But before we do, man, let's dive into your origin story. You already shared you got 3 kids, 6 months, 15 years, 16 years, and apparently the oldest 2 help you out a bit, which sounds really cool. So I want to hear a little bit more about that later on as well. But yeah, let's start off with your origin story, and then we'll get some more questions.
So how far you want me to go back?
Like whatever you want to share,
man. We're going back like Wolverine days, or like no, I mean, so what I basically started out as, I was an electrical engineer for a long time. And so I went to a TEDx event, right? Because I was always watching these TEDx conferences and stuff. And we've all seen, TEDx. This was this is just on YouTube and stuff, right? So then I was like, well, they had an event where I was in my hometown. So I said, well, I kind of owe it to myself, being that I watch this stuff on the internet all the time. I said, I kind of owe it to myself. And my wife was like, I think, that would be great. She's 100% supportive of everything. And honestly, I think I wouldn't be as far as I am today if it wasn't for her. But when it comes down to it, we went to the event, and it just so happens that it was over about autonomy. Right. So I met a guy named Jay Samit, which was the writer of Disrupt You. And what that whole premise in that whole book was about was the industry that you're in could be easily disrupted at any given time, right? So you could be, for instance, in my case, I was electrical engineer. That could be easily, disrupted at any given time whatsoever. Or even operators, machine operators, whatever the case may be, they can automate those things and kind of get those people out of there.
Yep.
Now, what really drove home to me was the fact of this was along the times of when Uber came in and took over for taxis. This was exactly the same time where, Amazon was shooting up. There was, so many different things with e-commerce taking off. And it really kind of sunk home with me as like, he was the first speaker that day. And he wasn't the only speaker. Obviously, TEDx events have many, many different speakers. But for some reason, this one really, really stuck with me, right? I went out there, and this was lunchtime, and they take a little intermediate time, and you go to lunch, and then it's like, so I'm seeing her. I walked by, and he's sitting there eating lunch by himself. I said, well, this is a prime time. I can actually talk to the guy. And come to find out, he was the person who, done quite a bit with, he came up with this thing that would give, what was it? Lottery tickets, sell lottery tickets back in the day. It was like a kiosk. And then all of a sudden he spent all this money on it, and he got underbid by somebody else and lost the job. So when he came back, he was flying home, and he noticed in the airports, they didn't have kiosks. They didn't have anything. They were and nobody was standing there helping with luggage or nothing. So he was the kind of person that pushed the kiosks inside of, airports and stuff like that. So he had this first big win doing that, which is, again, a disruption of the industry, because, again, that, not only do we have people to help with airports and stuff like that, but now we have an easier, system. And don't get me wrong, some of those airport stuff, they might need a little work. But as far as that goes, you have that just goes to show you, if you try and you have the effort, he sunk all his money into this thing and then didn't have anything to show for it. And then it really opened my eyes to say, well, look, for one, you need to get a different skill, right? I need to get a different skill. So I started branching off into SEO. I got into, I'm still a part of OMG, working with, which is, I'm not sure if everybody knows, that's like an SEO background type environment where, I work with a bunch of people as far as that goes. That's like a training platform that they have. And we go through and that's a group that I've been luckily to be part of for like going on, 3 years now.
Nice.
But after that, I went to, this is where I kind of went into OMG Live. So I went into OMG Live 2018. I met a lot of really, really, really smart people where, just bringing everything together. What are the things that they need to, to take this from where it's at to, scale it up, and that's really where it was. And it really lied into, talking to the people like, the likes of the people that were there are very, very much some top influencers that are in the industry today. And it opened my eyes to see how easily this thing could be put together. Right. Cause I was at the point where I just was like, this is just not working. You really kind of keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then you hit a break, or you get the small wins, but they're not something that you can, put leverage on. Right. You really kind of put something on and say, look, I have something here. You have, your little wins, and you say, okay, well, that's good and everything, but this is not really how I envisioned it, right? This is not where I'm going to make that path, right? So it wasn't until I met and talked with a bunch of people, and this is like a 3 or 4 day event. So, after that, I kind of regrouped, and I said, I went home and kind of made like a little visual board. I said, look, these are my goals. These are the things I'm going to try to accomplish. And 2019 hit, and I said, just start it. I stopped making excuses. I just started. Right. I've always been the guy behind the guy, if that makes sense. Like the people trying to, like the people helping other people succeed. But I've never really kind of stepped out and I said, look, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to do something. Right. And then the whole thing about that is I just started. I just came up and I said, well, look, I use automation quite a bit. I'm I have 16 years in automation. Now, why can't I take automation and put it inside of, digital marketing altogether? And that's really where it started. And I just came up and, I've been lucky enough to do that. And I started a brand new website then, and I started a brand new YouTube channel. Everything I had, I just kind of scratched and just started over, right? I said, what would I do if I started over today? And I just did that, right? Mm-hmm. And that gave me clarity on what are the proper steps to do this? What are the proper things to do this? And what do I need to do to make myself, out in the eyes of, and being 100% value added to the people that I can, getting an audience is one thing, getting traffic is another thing. And then when it comes to, when you get that audience, you get that traffic, you get those, you need to have the value and the, the ability to help people. Right. I believe it's on us to do that. Right. It is definitely on us. So in the midst of all this, right, I started all this, and my son was yet born, right? So he wasn't born, and then all of a sudden, so I had everything kind of built and going, and everything's in motion and things are happening, and all of a sudden, we have my son, and then he first came out, she spent the first week in the hospital, so that kind of put everything on hold. Mm-hmm. But it didn't really put everything on hold because I had things in motion that I was doing, but I never once stopped and said, look, what I'm doing takes precedent over what, my family at the time. So and luckily for me, because I've heard of way too many stories of that happening before. Right. Mm-hmm. So I chose to basically isolate myself for that period of time. And I said, look, everybody, this is what's going on, and we'll pick up when we get back. And that's what it was. And we took that and finding the time to, so now finding the time to get there and do these tasks that I could normally do from a good hourly standpoint, like during the day or doing, whatever the case may be. I didn't have to work long hours. Then I found myself like, okay, I'm going to spend time with the family. I'm going to handle things the way they should be handled, because she was, the way my son was, is he would sleep like every 2 hours and or he would sleep 2 hours, sleep 2 hours and eat. So that got pretty repetitive. Right. And it was like to the point where it was hard for one person, not much less two, to really handle that. Right. Mm-hmm. So there was no option for me to handle my business and then her to, keep on. So what I had to do is just find time, like in the middle of the night, mm-hmm. And stuff like that, to really, get things done and get things. So I started driving my automation a lot more of my business, and then, finding times to do things and to make sure stuff was done, and then make sure I was doing stuff properly. Mm-hmm. With that said, I had been fortunate enough for my oldest son he's been really, really such like a blessing. I mean, he came in and he's like, he obviously loves his brother, but he didn't have to, but he chooses to help out as much as he can with his brother. Nice. And that really makes the difference when it comes to like time where I can handle my business stuff, or in the middle of the night, something like that. He'll help up and get up in the middle of the night, help out. And it's like, wow. So now I can like stay up in the middle of the night and handle some stuff if I need to, because obviously, in the digital marketing world, we don't necessarily have hours, right? And everybody operates on a different country or a different platform. So we all have different hours anyway. So there's no really perspective to say, hey, between set hours of the day, I have to do set functions. I have more of an on-demand type thing going on, right? So when somebody needs help, I help, right? So when somebody needs some guidance or needs some support with inside of my infrastructure, that's what I do. And people always ask me, they say, do you sleep? And I'm like, yeah, I sleep. I mean, what do you mean by that? And you're like, well, you always answer every time that we post something on the group and tag you, or we message you on Facebook Messenger or something. And I'm like, well, I mean, I thought that's what I'm supposed to do, you know, support and help you guys. I mean, I get it. But I don't necessarily, at this point in time, I haven't hired a VA because of the simple fact of the quality, right? So you have to train a VA, you have to have time to do that. And I haven't done that because the first time I did that, I had a bad experience with it. And it just rolled down to, okay, so let me get everything structured properly. Let me have my own training platform and because people were asking me to develop training anyway. So I said, well, this kind of lines up. If I develop my own training platform and for people that wanted it, and if I choose to hire a VA, I can let the VA go through the training, then they operate the same way I operate. The only thing different is it in my voice or their voice, right? So I need to make sure that's 100% tried and true, right? That's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, in so many words, but I'm still part of all these groups. I'm still part of OMG. I'm still part of, I do a lot of stuff with Kevin David. I'm not sure if a lot of people know him. He's been a very, very successful entrepreneur. A lot of stuff in the ClickFunnels community. You know, I think ClickFunnels is really, and this is coming from somebody with an SEO background. So I build websites, right? So I think ClickFunnels is like really, really a helpful tool because you can take something that you have and just tweak it a little bit and then do split tests and have everything go without having to really spend too much time on it. So the time saver there. And then I found like little hacks and stuff I can do with my courses and my trainings and my SEO as far as like say for instance, I never had really, really good success like having people write my own articles. What I did is I said, well, one thing is, and I'm not the typer. I will first to admit I'm not a typer. Okay. So I'm not, my son can sit here and just type at the computer all day and he can type faster than I can talk.
Nice.
Now there's two things he can help on that. But what I found is at first, what I started doing is, I actually had my microphone, my Yeti microphone, and I opened up Google Docs, right? And then I cut on the voice command. So then I could actually speak what I was writing. So that was a time saver right there. And then what I did on top of that is I would actually go in and I found a better way that would do that is I tied Grammarly with Word, Microsoft Word. Yeah. And in Microsoft Word, there's a little button up there that says dictate. Then you can use dictate and speak into the microphone and speak your whole, like your article right there and just really have it in your own words. You can come back and then Grammarly can come back and check it to make sure everything is properly done. And you just kind of proofread it and then post. Really, really simple, efficient, and time saving altogether. Yeah. So I'm all about time hacks and I'm all about like automation and I'm all about like just trying to get the most out of my day when I have the opportunity to get out of my day, right? And it just for times it just is what it is. You know, you find the little things that can cheat the system. And what I mean by cheat the system is like you can go through and I could have typed out all my article in my instance that I gave. I could have typed out every single article and it spent me like a week to do. Or I literally built a website in a weekend. Exactly. Like all the content in the website, I spoke it and I put it on there. And don't get me wrong, I kind of put it in a nice format, but it took me a weekend. It took me a solid weekend to do. And that very website's ranking #1 right now, 4 months later for, what I wanted it to. So
nice.
So
that's nice, man. That's awesome. Let me share real quick. This is the group, right? So for people that want to check out what Shane is doing, what Shane is teaching, how Shane is serving his audience, other entrepreneurs, check this out. It's in the link. So it's in the comment section. You can just click on the link. If you're watching or listening to the replay of this, then you will find this link in the description section. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time to explain that. I love automations. I love time hacks. They're very important, especially for us dadpreneurs. And it seems like you're on top of the game, man. I like that.
Well, I mean, I think we learn every day, and there's so many. I think if you look at it, if you look on the internet, you can find what you want, right? But there's so many people claiming that here's the key to success. And I think we all know the key to success is effort, you know, and it's continuously learning and getting better yourself daily. And sadly, there is no key to success as far as like the one-off, here's a push button, you're going to push this and you're going to be rich tomorrow. It just is what it is, you know. I mean, you have to put forth effort, and you know that's a hard voice to really kind of get out there, but it's a true voice, and it's a voice that needs to be spoken and really get to. I think once people start accepting that, they know what it takes. The more you put in, the more you get out, the easier it gets for you, because it does. It gets easier. Because what happens is you get better. You know, a little bit. I've always told everybody that I teach. I've always told them, a little bit each day, you know, beats, you know, you can go through all my content in one day and you're not going to get out as nearly as, you know, enough is what I'm trying to put out to you, because there's the brain overload, right? We have so much we can learn in a day, but a little bit each day for those that say, well, that's a lot of stuff. And I say, well, you know what, go through a little bit, come back, you know, take a break, do whatever, come back and do a little bit more. Or, for that matter, if you don't have time, like I didn't have time, do a little bit each day. Do a little bit each day. And then if you do a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, a little bit the next day, then over 30 days, you not only have, like, say, if you do, you know, 2 hours a day or an hour today or an hour tomorrow, and that, you know, by the end of that month, you have all this information and you're taking action, you're doing things. So as things go, you start taking action and your things start rolling and you start, you know, things start happening for you. And that's what I mean by it. I mean, a little bit each time. I mean, and I was a hard believer of this myself. Honestly, I always was the shiny object chaser. Yeah. So, and I was just like that. So then when I came down to it, the whole time in the background, unbeknownst to me, I was building a platform for automation. And I did that. I was teaching automation to people that wanted to learn it in the electrical engineering field. And I did that, and I was just, you know, doing that for free. And I end up being like 400 and something videos. And this is completely separate from SmartBot marketers and completely separate from digital marketing. But I was doing this while I was still an engineer, right? So I did that, and I was thinking, I'm not getting anywhere, but I enjoyed doing it, right? So it didn't really matter to me. Because I think fulfillment is something you should have to, it definitely is something that sometimes people get from fulfillment from a different place. And, you know, for me, it's helping others, right? And you get that, you know, don't get me wrong, money is a tool and we should use it, but that's not what you should chase. You should chase helping people, and you should chase having value. You should chase stuff like that. When it came down to it, that whole infrastructure, you know, I made all those videos. To this day, people are still catching up to those videos. I haven't touched this platform in like years, but to this day, people are still asking me questions about what about this video? What about this video? I'm like, so, you know, and it comes down to it is I was doing a little bit each day. I wasn't actually doing a little bit each day. Then I was doing like 2 or 3 videos a week, because it really does take nothing to make a YouTube video. If your intent is to help somebody, then to cut on your laptop and to actually, you know, spend 15 minutes making a solid YouTube video. I mean, nobody says you have to write a big script and read off the script, or, you know, you can be straight off the cuff like we are right now. You can like none of this is rehearsed, right? So you have to be able to do that and just be yourself, be honest, be open. And you're going to relate to somebody, right? You're going to have a set audience that relates to you, because you're doing what you're trying to do is, you know, just basically be yourself. I mean, and it's going to happen no matter what. I mean, you may not be the next, you know, guru that has, you know, this big YouTube channel, big following, or whatever the case may be, that, you know, ends up, you know, succeeding and making all this money on YouTube, or, you know, even linking that to other properties that, you know, have things sell, or whatever the case may be. But what you're doing is you're building something a little bit each time. So now if you have this in my example right here, if I have a YouTube channel, then the next thing I know, I'm going to have, you know, a Facebook group, or the next thing I know, I'm going to have a website. I'm going to do one thing at time, and then it gets easier and easier. But to my point, popping up your laptop, make a 15-minute video. Hey, nobody's good at the first time, but you know what? Taking action beats inaction all day long. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect, because we can always come back. We're always going to learn. We're always going to get better. And again, that goes back to that little bit each day philosophy. It really is that. And like I said, it's helped me greatly. And the only thing I can tell people that really want to succeed is effort, right? And you put forth the effort, and then obviously mentorship really comes in and play with that too. What I mean by that is, having the proper guidance behind that too. So I've found some great mentors, coming through. I've also found some people that I thought, were really, and they're really, really successful, but the way they operated did not fit in the way I was operating. Right. I just didn't, morally, I didn't feel correct. That sounds like, I think we all have that sense of, when we're on the internet, we're doing things where we're trying to grow a business. We all have that sense, that moment where, is this right? Is this something we should be doing? And if you do, then you need to really, really sit down and question it and make sure that you're still coming from yourself. You're representing the people that want to follow you because they recognize who you are as a person. Don't step out of that for the sake of $1, right? If you're true to the world, I have a strong belief that the more you give to the world, the more the world will give to you. And that's just, and a lot of this is kind of like statements that people find as cliche, but they really are statements that are true to form. It's not a fast process, or it could be a fast process. Who knows? The person that listens to this video today could start something tomorrow and be absolutely great at it. You don't know if you're great at something until you try it. And then if they're absolutely great at it, then they, things could take off for them, and they could, like this one video that we're doing right now and we're talking about, could literally open up an opportunity for somebody to branch out and succeed in whatever they want to. Right. And that's really what it boils down to, is right. It's having an open mind, having a perspective, believing in yourself a little bit, and just taking chances. Like, I would have never known I was good at what I did until, I did it. Right. And I still learn every day. So right.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mom, you brought up a lot of things that I wanted to dive into today. One of the things actually was one of the last questions I wanted to ask you, but since you brought it up a lot, because you're talking a lot about effort, I also saw it on your Facebook. And I was almost going to say I was arguing with my mother, but it's more like I was having a discussion in regards to hard work, right? Because she has her business at the moment, and she posted somewhere, hard work is important. And somebody else said, hard work's not important. And I responded, smart work is important, right? You kind of hit on both, saying, look, hard work, but you make automations, which is smart work in my opinion, but you still got to put in the effort, right?
Yeah.
And then I read the other day in this book, The Daily Stoic, and they were saying there's a big difference between getting to work hard or you must work hard, like you have to, right? And from you, what I really get is like, you get to work hard because you really enjoy what you do, and because you get to fulfill your potential, your purpose, right? You get to serve. Share a little bit on how do you understand now hard work, and how does it feel for you?
So hard work is, to your point, like what you brought up with the Stoic, right? I have very much belief in that too, right? You have your Stoic and your Epicurean, and when it comes to being a Stoic, and that's a mindset, right? And it doesn't necessarily drive to, a lot of people associate that with one thing or another, but I think it really rolls down to the fact of, I know hard work because I had to do it before, and the difference is, I know what it takes when you're forced to do hard work, and I know what it takes when I have the opportunity to work for myself hard. Right. So when you take that, okay, so I'm going to work 16 hours a day for somebody else, right? And then I'm working hard, I'm tired, I'm beat down, whatever the case may be. Well, how I got started was taking that. There's many different successful entrepreneurs that say this very same thing. And I think one of them, and a lot of people can relate to this, is Gary Vaynerchuk. If you have a passion around something, great. You're not gonna just stop what you're doing right now, and you're not going to immediately win on your passion. But what you can do is you can do what you do. If you truly have a passion for helping people or doing whatever you're doing, right, and you're growing your business, then you come home at night, you spend time with the kids, or you spend time with your family, and when they're asleep, spend an hour or two doing it. Mm-hmm. Nobody's saying you have to not sleep or nothing. But what I'm saying is just spend an hour or two trying to better yourself a day. And then when it comes down to it, you're going to, in the end of that month, you're going to be like, wow, this was, really an eye opener. Mm-hmm. But the real one thing that I haven't really talked about and I hadn't really touched on is, and I don't really voice this too much because everybody has a story, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody has some kind of background, and it's really, most of us have a hard background. But from 16 years old, I kind of lived on the streets. So I know what it was like, right? I know what it was like to work myself to get my first apartment with nothing in it. I know what it was like to that very next month getting my first couch or getting my first bed and getting my, slowly building things up. And then doing that was, again, trading my time for money from, again, working for somebody else. But I still had to put forth the effort to do that. Mm-hmm. And then when you start seeing, and I think we're all creatures of habit, we need to see these little wins to keep going. And I think every little win is an important factor. Mm-hmm. So no matter what process or where you're at in the world, what you're doing in the industry, or what you're doing, if you're working every day and you're trying to get out, you're trying to do something to better your family, you're trying to do something to better your own life, or whatever the case may be, just know it takes, effort, and it takes the drive, and just take time to appreciate the small wins. Because I can tell you one thing, the first thing that I did, and this is often said, but often overlooked, is the very first person who believed in me and really bought into a course that I made. And it really, honestly, I wasn't trying to this wasn't about money, but it was about, I made a course, and I was trying to get it out there. And the very first person who believed in me and bought the course, that was the most, it was the best feeling I ever had, because of the simple fact of, hey, I'm doing something, I built something to help people, but then somebody believed in me, right? Somebody believed in me. So that was more of a win than making the any kind of money or something from the course. And so that person, lo and behold, I put a lot into because, they were in my beta course at the time. This was an opportunity that I gave. Not too many people actually jumped in it because, again, often when you're the person behind the person, you don't have the name brand. And yeah. I'm not one of those people to change my name. There's a lot of people that change their name to, just like actors do, right? But when it comes down to it, I put more into helping her on one-on-ones, and not only that, going through the training and telling her what would be valuable. She's actually super successful now, one of the top 10 ClickFunnels affiliates. And nice. I'm for one of my students to have that kind of success, it's it greatly, it helps me all together, because having that sense of fulfillment behind it is hey, what I'm doing is something that really does value people, really does help people. It really does, give them a sense of clarity. And it maybe it's the little thing that they were doing everything properly, but that they needed this one little thing, right, to tie it in. Or maybe it was a full circle of things, or maybe it was just how to implement things correctly, or have a visual board and do things properly, or, whatever the case may be. You have to set your goals in front of you and aim directly toward those goals. A lot of what happens is, and I talked about the shiny object syndrome, and I was part of that, right? Mm-hmm. is we see things and they seem great, and don't get me wrong, they're marketed absolutely brilliantly. So we think, if I get this, I'm going to win. And then a month later, now you start this process. Now a month later, another one comes out. And then you're like, if I get this, I'm going to win. Well, now you got 2 or 3 things, and you're not working on one thing like 100%. You're not having a line focused on one thing to help you out. Because if you just stopped and did that one thing, how far could you get with that one thing? Mm-hmm. And then if you did another thing, then do that 100% of the time, and then take that and grow that, and then tie the 2 together, or whatever the case may be. But it really was a point of time where we think methodically. We think as like little chunks of data, right? Little chunks of we can't really, instead of having like a spaghetti of data coming together and trying to make it win and trying to make things happen, you have to stay organized. You have to stay focused. You have to stay with that line of sight of where you want to be and what are your goals, and go after that every single day. And nobody's saying the goals don't have to change, but you have to have goals, and you have to aim toward them goals. You have to focus. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just value added, right? But yeah, effort is 100% the key. And whether, to your point, like working hard, everybody talks about that hustle thing, yeah, everybody does, but I mean, when it comes down to it, it's, working smart is the same thing. Working smart is you put forth the effort beforehand to make something automated or to make a process working. And then after you do that, it shows face, right? So you work hard for a little bit, and then you have something work hard for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. Work hard for a little bit and have something else work hard for you. That's a nice one to remember. What I got to ask, because I checked out your YouTube channel, how long do you have that channel, and how the hell did you grow it? Because I think you grew it pretty fast.
The new one? The Smart Bot Marketers one?
Yeah, because that one's almost up to 1,500 subscribers, right?
Yeah. Really what it is I had a YouTube like channel on my name already, like a different one. Yeah. And so I knew the proper protocol to have, like the proper things to do. So all I did was just, again, I repeated the process. I said, okay, look, this one's going to be about digital marketing. This one's going to be about, let's start out with this. Mm-hmm. So again, and just to my point where having structure is proper, the proper way of doing things is every single thing that I do, I put in a playlist, and I make that playlist, just for that topic. So if somebody goes in, they could like literally binge watch all my content, and then they'll be like, really, that's kind of like, he's giving away all this stuff for free. Let me go to his group and see what he's giving in there. And let's go in the group and let me just talk to him. Oh my God, the guy actually responds to when I talk. Okay, well, maybe there's something here. So, but the point of that is like growing a YouTube channel is really just like putting out a video a week or 2 videos a week. And don't get me wrong, they don't have to be the greatest thing in the world, but you have to be supportive over that. You have to be like, when somebody asks a question, you have to answer the question. When somebody comes in, like I have things that I do, like for YouTube SEO and stuff like that. I use vidIQ. I use there's another one I use, but the point of it is you put the proper tags in there. You know how to title things. You do things right. You want to get searched. You want to be on the top of the search for whatever the case may be. I just happen to aim a completely different route. Instead of saying, hey, here's how to make money online. I mean, that's not me, right? That's not the guy that I am. I'm not the, hey, let's make money on guy. Because how am I going to be like, hey, I can show you how to make $500 today in the next 10 minutes on whatever website. And then when you get on the video, I'm going to be like, hey, but it applies effort, guys. It really takes you doing it. So it's kind of a contradictory. What audience, what tribe are you trying to get to follow you, right? Again, that's true to yourself, right? I believe it's true to yourself. So what did I do to really grow that? Proper structure. And then having the proper SEO done, like on the video SEO, putting the definite like small things together. Like what I do is I'll put like here's a little trick. Here's a tip for everybody that wants to grow a YouTube channel or start a YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and give you this little golden nugget. You know how everybody has this intro, right? Everybody has this, hey, we're going to talk about this. And then they have music in the background and there's a nice little intro. Okay, so sometimes I've done that. I've dabbled with it back and forth. It's okay, but you lose retention there. So I get straight into it. Mm-hmm. And then what I do is I don't actually like have an outro. Like I don't say, hey, thanks for watching X, Y, and Z. Go to our, I don't actually talk about branding or doing that. What I do is I'm talking to you literally. I'm saying, okay, well, this is how we do this. This is how we do this. Oh, and by the way, there's videos all around you right now. Go ahead and click one of those and let's go to I'll talk to you later. And literally I just stop it right there. So what that does in that last 10 seconds, I go in the back of the YouTube channel, the back of that video is what I do is I there's a little end video that you can add. You can add up to 3 or 4 videos. And I add 3 or 4 videos that are relevant to the topic that I just said in the bottom of that video, right? The back of that video, whatever I'm talking about, I'm gonna say, here's more videos about Zapier, or here's more videos about chatbots, or here's more videos about ClickFunnels. I'm literally going in there and saying, okay, well, here's more videos all around you about X, Y, and Z. Thanks for being part of it, and always check us out on our Facebook. And you don't necessarily have to, push out your Facebook group name or nothing. Just check us out on Facebook. People are smart enough to find you if they want to. I think we underestimate people's intelligence when it comes to this. Mm-hmm. And after that, at the bottom of that, I'll go ahead and put my link to my group. Not in I do put it in the subtitles or the the text. But what I do on the bottom of that video too is I'm the first person who comments. Right? Okay. I'm the first person who comments on my video, and what I do is I comment my group link or whatever I want you to go or wherever I think that would help you in that very atmosphere, right? And I pin that group. I pin that to the very top. So when somebody scrolls down, the first thing they see is the comment that I left that shows them all the links that they go to. Because one thing I have found is people they're really, really are used to going to the show notes below the video, and they're like, well, this is obviously where they're trying to advertise to you. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard for people that are truly trying to add value to add all their good content in there and really get noticed. So what I do is I would say, okay, well, I'm going to step out of that. I'm going to put all that in there, but I'm going to step out of that as well. And I'm going to add a first comment. It's going to be me. And then it's going to be, having a couple links or whatever the case may be. If you want to check them out, great. And then I pin that to the very top. So that is the very top comment of that video.
I like that.
Which it helps retention. It helps growth. It helps people. They see after a while. I started that YouTube channel in late to January. So.
Okay. This year.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, I got my YouTube channel for a year. I got 77 subscribers, and I post every day. Like I used to go live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, etc. And I'm still struggling. But what you mentioned 3 things I'm not doing yet, so I got some improvement to do. But it's what you say is so true. It's all about focus, right? So I'm focused on Facebook. At the beginning, I was focused on YouTube and Facebook and my ClickFunnels and stuff like that all at the same time, and just nothing was growing. And that's exactly what you're saying. Like, it doesn't work. And I started to laugh when you said, like, yeah, we go with the, 1 month you do this. And I think it was like 1 month it was Ryan Dice, and then 1 month it was somebody else that has like the great way. And then it was Russell Brunson. Then I stick with Russell. I'm like, you know what? I gotta change something. So now I'm just focusing on Russell, right, and learning from him. I'm sure you have this book as well.
Yeah, Russell is so. Yeah, there's some great stuff. And there's 100%. There's like enough content for you to consume for the next year with Russell Brunson. Mm-hmm. But the things you learn, if you really, now I'm one of those people that cut on my headset and I'll try to do something totally different. But even then I lose the sense that the little golden nuggets you get out of those conversations, because you can underestimate a person. You can look at them, and we're all subject to do this. Every one of us are subject to look at like the first video, and like, let's just say you bought the one-way funnel. And there's like 30 interviews in there, and you're all subject to go, this person's name, this person's name. When you pull them up and they're like, they look like maybe, I don't know, they're not appealing to you or something. I don't know. And then you don't listen to that one video. Well, that video could have been the video that really tied everything together for you. Yeah. So I give everything a chance, and here's another little hack, because we're all about time hacks, is I actually speed everything up.
Yep.
So I go in there, and obviously if you use Chrome, there's a Chrome extension. You can speed everything up, video speed or something. I speed everything up so that I can actually watch it quicker, go through it. So an hour video now turns into, and I speed it up to a point where I can interpret it and it's good for me.
Yeah.
And it's not so, so I end up getting through, an hour video in like 45 minutes.
I hear you. Yeah, I do the same, except with Steve Larson. He already speaks at my, like, everybody else's 1.5. He goes,
yeah.
I can't fast forward with everybody else. Yeah, absolutely. There's some even that you like, I go 2 times the speed. I'm still like, dude, how can this still go so slow? But yeah, that's a great hack.
The funny thing about it was too, is I was like, so I got my first time doing one funnel away, is I was like, well, there's one thing that you can purchase as an upsell is the traffic, right? The traffic one. And he really, really does have a great guy doing it. And you think, well, yeah, I need this. So I got it. And I went through it and I was like, I know a lot of this stuff. Like, I was really impressed. But I was like, I do this. I do this. I do this. I do this. And well, here's something I don't do. So let me try that, because if he's saying he does all of this stuff and he wins, so hey, why not? Let me try it. Let me give it a whirl. So that goes back to that stepping out of yourself and just giving it a try thing. And, it really is one thing at a time, so like, and I think we all would love to see, like, especially for us, the people that have been through and gone through courses and stuff like that, we want to see a course that's, short, sweet, to the point. I want results, but let's kind of break it down to really the way it is they need to be detailed. And as much as we don't want to sit through that hour-long video or that 35-minute video or whatever the case may be, that's there to teach you, and it's there to engage with you, and there to show you how things are done. Now, if you feel you learned that, great, go ahead and go on to the next thing. But it's important to give that very thing, whatever the thing you're doing, an opportunity, because you don't, like, I hear all these people, especially when we get to a certain age, where like, my time is running out. I only have so much time. I only have so much time. Well, you know what? If you spend an hour listening to the right thing, then it really does save you so much time.
True.
And if you spend an hour listening to the wrong thing, that that saves you time as well, because again, what we don't succeed from, we learn from. So it is, that's that whole failure cliche, thing. But again, I don't necessarily call it failure. I call it learning, because everything that I've had to go through that, I've a learning process, and I'm not going to do it again.
Exactly. You either win or you learn. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. It's actually one of my, at one point it's like, man, I'm learning a lot.
Right.
That's what it's all about, man. And not just as an entrepreneur, right? But also as a dad. I'm like, oh God, I learn a lot. I have to learn a lot here, because if not, I'm not going to make it. I have my kids the whole summer. I had them last summer. And what I mean with that is that they just not going to school for 10 weeks. And since I'm an entrepreneur, I get to stay at home. So I get them for 10 weeks. And it's just like, when the learning peak goes, poof.
Yeah. So, and there's a time right there too, where it's like, hey, do I take action? You have to make a decision one day. Like every single day we take a decision, right? Do I take action today, or do I learn today? Or do I try to learn a little bit and then take a little bit of action? It really goes back to that single point of contact, that single point of focus, a single point of so I'm the type of person who does really, really, really good at like the beginning of the day. And then really, really, really good if I stay up at night too, though. But I have my best peak moments like early. So I can watch something and then implement it right after that, and literally watch it the rest of the day and see how it goes. And it's just like so much of, it's been really, I think in each one of us, we have that certain learning process too. And it really is, it's about what you need to do to find it. Right. But the one thing I don't recommend is like going through 8 hours of content one day, because not only that, if you're going through that much and you're still awake, meaning I don't care what you do, I can't watch TV for 8 hours a day. If you're still awake, you didn't get what you're supposed to get out of it. So go through a little bit, go do something else, or go through a little bit and implement it. Go through a little bit, implement it. But what you're going to find here is when you're going through and implementing it, it's not such a fast process. Okay, you're not watching 8 hours worth of videos. You're watching an hour of video, and then you're implementing for like 3 or 4 hours. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that really did kind of take up some time. And then you look back, it's like, hey, the very next day you do the same process, and you look back and you're like, damn, I really did go a long ways, and you have to look back at that. So in any given time, you feel like this is a weekday, or this is what I mean by that is not a weekday, like a week. I mean, like you're having a weak moment in that day, right? Mm-hmm. You should look back and say, what have I done? Where was I, and where am I going? Mm-hmm. Because if I was here and I'm going here, but I was way back here, I can do this. All it takes is me doing it. Mm-hmm. Like I said, action beats inaction any given day of the week. And for those who like to say some people are talented, I would like to say, yes, they are, but hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. It's simple as that. So any given day of the week, if the talented people in whatever industry you're in, if the talented people are not working hard and you are working hard, you'll beat them every single day. It's that easy.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually discussed that text with my mother right before we went on, and she was saying I'd actually go as far as saying that talented people not working hard will lose their talent. And I thought, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So
they will. You will lose your sharpness with it. You will definitely lose your sharpness.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Man, I'm loving it. I appreciate you sharing that. And we went into a lot. Automations, man. Can you share a little bit of what kind of automations would you recommend a dadpreneur to start off with? Because you're saying like, okay, you need to focus on one thing, get that all set up, and then you go to the next thing, right? What will be one, like a dadpreneur that's working now at 9 to 5, who's thinking about starting his own business, his online business, sorry. What would be like an automation that you're like, okay, this is the one you must have and start with, and this would be my advice to start that up?
Right. So, and it really depends on where you're at and what you want to aim at. But what I would say is one key thing that I will solely say is a solid thing that you could learn and take and grow from and use no matter what industry you go in, no matter what you do, as long as you're in the digital marketing world, is tools like Zapier, which are very, very much, they're not limited to some of the things that people think they are. And it is one of the more robust platforms, is Zapier, because again, you can automate just about anything and just have it happen. You can do product fulfillment. Like if you're starting a store, like an e-commerce store, you can do product fulfillment through that. You can do emails. You can do all kind of stuff. And again, my YouTube channel shows a lot of that too. You can schedule webinars. That's a thing that I've done in the past. But I also too, I link my chatbots. I do a lot of chatbot stuff with Zapier, and then with my chatbots too, I also, have them with my ClickFunnels. I help them assist my ClickFunnels. So if you land on my ClickFunnel page, my chatbot will follow you, right? So it'll come back and ask you, hey, I just noticed that you were on our page. I just wanted to see if I could reach out and ask, if you had any questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would come back and admin me, so that instead of having somebody say, hey, enter in your phone number and I'm going to contact you so that we can talk. The more open scenario is, again, when it rolls back down to it, is something like somebody lands on your ClickFunnels. They're going to have questions about whatever. There's no way that you wrote perfect copy. And that unless somebody's been following you for like quite a while, that you wrote perfect copy, and there's a cold lead that comes in, and you're going to go ahead and, land that cold lead. What you can do though is have that chatbot attached to it, and then it automatically, talks to them and says, hey, and then all of a sudden that person's like looking down their phone. They're like, wait, hold on. So I'm not getting a message from the person from this page right now. There has to be something here. It kind of gets that second, that thought process going that says, oh, well, maybe there's something here. That's helped quite a bit. But so my chatbots have helped greatly. Again, I use those for my training too. I train a lot of stuff through my chatbots. But when it comes down to it, it really is, Zapier, chatbots, automation. As far as like, I use a lot of tools that are manually intensive too, like for SEO. And there really is no automated tool for SEO.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it, like your ClickFunnels, driving traffic to it, there are definitely some things you can do. Excuse me. Like I said, chatbots, Zapier. There's some new stuff I'm doing with Tier 5, which is an automation software that it has really, really helped me, because I can actually track things. I can do things properly. I can do outreach to, like, if you have a B2B business, you can do outreach to that B2B business and just know who is all around you right now, right? You don't know, like if you do a local business, you don't know who's all around you right now. So some people could do a local business and they could be like looking for us, like to do services for people, but they don't necessarily want to call people. They don't necessarily, nobody likes to call people cold and be like, hey, I just noticed that you probably could use my services. The person's gonna be like, I don't think so. I don't think I can. But then again, you may get that, out of the 99 people, you might get that one. The easier thing to do is to use automation and find out all the people, and then have an email service. Go ahead and email them people. So what I do, the key things that I use right now, I use ActiveCampaign for my emails, which would basically, you can automate your email sequences. And again, this is not automating your sequences. You can make them as spammy as you want to, or as user friendly as you want to, right? So make sure you speak out of your own voice when you're speaking through that. But I use ActiveCampaign for my email sequences. I use ManyChat for my chatbot services, because again, they're user friendly, they're easy, and they're cheaper. And then I use like tools like Zapier, and I tie all these things together so that I get a well-rounded system along with my websites and my ClickFunnels, so that everything ties together nice and easy and properly, so that when you enter in my infrastructure, if I decide to talk to you or reach out to you, then I can. But again, I'm not one of those people that are spammy, and I don't suggest that anybody is, because there's way too many people that do that and they don't win. They may win in the short term, but would you rather, the question I've always asked myself is, would I rather, do something that I felt not moral about, and then end up being, successfully rich with it, and then all of a sudden, now you have a bad name in the industry. Like I do know people that have done that and have a bad name in the industry, and they're not even allowed on Facebook anymore to market. And that's just terrible, because honestly, you were chasing a dollar, not trying to chase value, right? You helping people and doing the proper things is, I think, going to show. It's going to win, and it's been winning. It's just going to be the winning platform.
Exactly. Well said. And right before we finished an hour, time went incredibly fast with this live interview. I really appreciate you, man. I wasn't going to say you share, but I was almost going to say you dumped a huge amount of golden nuggets. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to share this again. So for the people that enjoyed all of the golden nuggets that's just been shared by Shane, make sure you check out his group. What are other ways to get in contact with you, or the best ways to get in contact with you?
If you watch my YouTube videos and you comment on my YouTube videos, I always respond to them. People can email me at shane@smartbotmarketers.com. Or then again, you know, my Facebook group right here. There's a couple different platforms right there as far as that goes. But again, you can also check me out on Facebook. It's Shane Welcher. You know, I think it's Shane Welcher.39 because like I did it a long time ago and I don't have it. Don't look at the official Shane Welcher because that's something this is a project I'm doing right now. That is not me personally. That's a brand. Okay. So I haven't even started that. So if you see official Shane Welcher, that's a brand, it's an entity, it's a whole different thing. The one you're looking for obviously is Shane Welcher at Shane Welcher at .39, I think is the actual thing. But anyway, so there's a couple different avenues, right? I answer every single one, so it doesn't matter. Always there. And as always, you know, if you're in my bots and stuff like that, you're in my bots. But if you're talking to me directly on Facebook Messenger, then I answer that as well.
Exactly. No, like we did.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Awesome, man. Great. I appreciate you sharing that. If you're listening or watching the recording of this, then you can find all these links in the description section and just click on whichever one is most beneficial to you. Shane, thank you so much for spending now even a little over an hour of your time with us. I really appreciate you sharing your insights, your experience, and knowledge with us. Everybody watching this, thank you. I would appreciate you joining us, and want to just share something that Shane hammered on a couple of times as well. It's not about the amount of golden nuggets that you took. It's about getting that one and taking action and making that work for you. So that's definitely always the message that I share at the end. I wish you all good luck. I'm about to go live in 13 minutes again, so I will see you all soon. Shane, stay on for just a couple of seconds more when I end the broadcast. Everybody else, thank you, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.